Think about the last time you made a money decision you regretted. Maybe you held onto cash too long instead of investing. Maybe you spent way too much on something you didn't need. Maybe you felt a wave of guilt just for buying yourself something nice. Now, here's the real question. Was that decision actually yours? Or was it something that got planted in your brain decades ago, long before you had a bank account, a job, or any say in the matter? According to a study by Cambridge University, children begin forming money habits by the age of 7. That means before most of us learned how to multiply, we were already absorbing beliefs about money from the adults around us. And a survey of over 1,400 US adults found that 83.7% of people say their financial habits are still influenced by their parents, well into adulthood. So, right now, let's unpack this. Let's talk about the specific money beliefs that parents pass down, which ones are actually helpful, and which ones have been draining your wallet and your potential for years. Financial psychologist Dr. Brad Klontz spent years studying what he calls money scripts. These are subconscious beliefs about money that usually form during childhood. They run in the background of your mind, shaping every financial choice you make, often without you even realizing it. Klontz's research identified 4 main types of money scripts, and there's a good chance your parents handed you at least one of them. The first is money avoidance. This is the belief that money is bad, that rich people are greedy, that wanting more money makes you selfish. If your parents ever said things like money is the root of all evil or made comments about wealthy neighbors being dishonest, this belief may have taken root. And on the surface, it sounds noble, but in practice, it leads to self-sabotage. People who carry this script often under-earn, avoid looking at their bank statements, and feel deep discomfort anytime they start doing well financially. And here's where it gets really personal. Money avoidance doesn't just affect your bank account. It affects your career choices, your willingness to negotiate a raise, even the kind of opportunities you allow yourself to pursue. The second money script is money worship. This is the opposite end. It's the belief that money solves everything, that more money means more happiness, more security, more love. If your parents constantly chased promotions, worked overtime every week, or always talked about money like it was the answer to every problem, you might have picked this up. And while ambition is a good thing, money worship tends to create a treadmill. No matter how much you earn, it never feels like enough. People stuck in this script often overspend, carry higher debt, and burn out trying to reach a finish line that doesn't exist. What makes money worship so sneaky is that the world around us reinforces it constantly. Ads, social media, even well-meaning friends, they all feed this idea that the next purchase or the next income level will finally make things feel right. So if your parents planted this seed early on, everything around you has been feeding it ever since. And breaking free from it takes more than just earning more. It takes changing what enough actually means to you. The third is money status. This is where self-worth gets tied to net worth. If your parents cared a lot about appearances, the car in the driveway, the brand of clothes, how the house looked compared to the neighbors, this is the belief you may have inherited. People with this script spend to impress. They take on debt to maintain an image. They measure success by what they own rather than what they've built. And the research backs this up. Klontz found that people with strong money status beliefs tend to have lower net worth, even when their income is high. The money goes out as fast as it comes in. It's an exhausting cycle, and it usually ends with stress, frustration, and a pile of stuff that doesn't actually bring any real satisfaction. The fourth script is money vigilance. This is the one that comes from parents who were careful, thoughtful, and intentional with every dollar. The kind of household where the lights got turned off in empty rooms, leftovers were never wasted, and conversations about saving happened at the dinner table. Of all 4 money scripts, this is the only one not linked to destructive financial behavior. In fact, Klontz's research showed that money-vigilant people tend to save more, carry less debt, and avoid compulsive spending. So, does that mean money vigilance is the one to keep? Mostly yes. But even this one has a shadow side. People who grow up with extreme money vigilance can develop a deep fear of spending, even when they can afford it. They hoard cash. They avoid investing because it feels like risk. They feel anxious about every purchase, no matter how small. So while the foundation of vigilance is solid, it needs room to breathe. The goal isn't to be afraid of money. The goal is to respect it and let it work for you. Now, here's what makes all of this tricky. More than half of adults, 55.7% according to a recent survey, say they actively try to avoid their parents' financial mistakes. That sounds like progress, right? But sometimes when we overcorrect, we just swing to a different kind of problem. A person who grew up in a household that never spent money on anything fun might become an emotional spender as an adult. Somebody who watched their parents take on reckless debt might become so afraid of borrowing that they never buy a home or invest in their own education. The belief changed on the surface, but the behavior is still driven by the same old emotional root. The fear is still there. It just found a new way to express itself. And this is exactly why awareness matters so much. Because you can read every personal finance book out there, you can follow every budgeting strategy, but if the underlying belief hasn't been addressed, the pattern keeps showing up in different ways. So the real work here isn't just about identifying what your parents taught you. It's about examining whether those lessons serve the life you're building today. Here's a practical way to start. Think about your biggest recurring money frustration. Maybe it's guilt about spending. Maybe it's anxiety about never having enough. Maybe it's the constant urge to buy things to feel better. Now trace that feeling back. When was the first time you felt it? What was happening around you? What were the adults in your life saying or doing about money at the time? This is what financial therapists call a financial flashpoint, an emotionally charged memory from childhood that shaped your current relationship with money. Once you see it clearly, you can start making choices based on where you're going, instead of being pulled back to where you came from. Another helpful step is to write down the money phrases you heard growing up. Things like, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees, or people like us don't do that. Just seeing those sentences written out gives you the chance to look at them with adult eyes and ask, is this actually true? Or is this just something that was repeated so many times it started to feel true? That simple exercise has helped thousands of people start to separate their real financial situation from the emotional scripts running underneath it. And here's the encouraging part. About 66% of adults today say they're in a better financial position than their parents were at the same age. That means most people are making progress. The patterns can be broken, the old scripts can be rewritten, but it starts with awareness. Keep the belief that money should be respected and managed with care. That's a gift worth holding on to. Let go of the belief that money is something to feel ashamed of. Let go of the idea that your bank account defines who you are. And let go of the fear that keeps you from making smart strategic moves with your money. The beliefs your parents gave you are shaped by their own fears, their own experiences, and the world they grew up in. Some of those beliefs protected them. Some of them held them back. Now it's your turn to decide which ones stay and which ones go. Your financial future doesn't have to be a repeat of what came before. The fact that you're even thinking about this puts you ahead of most people. So take what serves you, leave what doesn't, and start building something that actually reflects who you are today. If you got value from this, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you there.